guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you guys are doing well today. Watches and Wonders continues on the Life on the Wrist channel, and today we're going to be talking about Tudor. Tudor is obviously a fan favorite, and a lot of people in this channel really love Tudor, so I thought I would cover the watches that they released at Watches and Wonders this year. There were some interesting watches that they released. They started utilizing some precious metals, which I thought was quite interesting, in some of their staple pieces. And so we're going to be talking through some of the watches that they released. I'm going to say at the beginning of this video, like I do with all of my Watches and Wonders videos, I do not have any of these watches in my possession. This is purely me talking through the releases and giving you my thoughts on them. If you are looking for a video where they do have the watches, this probably isn't the video for you, but I will be sure to put up some videos and pictures onto this video so that you can see it as I talk through each of these watches and give you my thoughts on them. So I thought we would start with the Tudor Black Bay Chronographs that were released at Watches and Wonders by Tudor. These chronographs are not a new thing that they've come out with. This is really just a relaunch of these watches. And the chronographs are now in a much, the noticeable changes to these chronographs are a dial layout change, and then also just some minor case and bracelet changes that they've made to make the watch a little bit more wear and create a new iteration on this piece. When you look at these two releases, they released one with a black dial, one with a white dial. They both scream Paul Newman Daytona to just about anyone who looks at them. The watches themselves are basically a spitting image of Paul Newman Daytonas. If you take a look at these, obviously they don't have the Paul Newman subdials, but they're a spitting image of exactly that. The watches themselves, just to give you a little bit of the specifications on these watches, it's 41 millimeter case, 14.4 millimeters in thickness. Both of these versions come in stainless steel, and like I said, have a black dial and a white dial. 200 meters water resistance, and the watches themselves, kind of just to describe the layout on them, they have the hours, minutes, seconds, they have a chronograph, and then they also have a date at 6 o'clock. There's two subdials, one for the seconds and then a 45-minute counter for the chronograph. What's really interesting about this is, at least when you take a look at these watches, there's a couple things that really pop out to you. On the black dial one, I think the most notable thing is that red at the end of the chronograph hand has a little bit of a red accent, and then there's also the 200 meters water resistance marking on the dial is also in red, and so that pop of red really does bring out a little bit of an interesting dial. You have the same things on the white dial version, however they don't really pop as much because you already have such a bright color that is white. I said that they were panda dials and reverse panda dials. The black dial version of this chronograph has two white subdials, and then the white dial has two black subdials. Almost a tongue twister there. What I think about these watches, it's a cool release. I think the bezel is you know, it screams Paul Newman Daytona to me. And from a when you think about the brand itself, I think this is a good direction that they've gone. I think it's, you know, creating something that's very similar to the Rolex Daytona is a good direction for them to go, because that will capture a pretty large audience. Also, if I'm completely honest, I didn't really like the Tudor chronographs that they had previously, and so you can see that they were probably seeing that type of feedback and went to something that would definitely capture a pretty good group of potential buyers. But in my heart, I really wish that they tried to do something different and create something that we would love as watch enthusiasts. You know, it's kind of taking something from archives and creating something again that will be a commercial success, and it's guaranteed to be a commercial success because it's a really great looking watch. I just wish they iterated a little bit more on what they produced. It's a Tudor in-house movement as well, the MT5813. So a really beautiful movement too that you're getting in this piece. And when you think about you know, sports chronographs, for price points, with a strap, these watches can be had for just under $5,000 US, and with a bracelet for about $5,300 US. So a fairly good a good price point for these. Moving on to something a little bit different, and that's going into the Black Bays that Tudor released this year. And so what I think the main theme here that they kind of used for the releases that they had this year was the fact that they were going to be using precious metals in the Tudor Black Bays that they released. So they released one Tudor Black Bay, which comes in 18 karat yellow gold, I believe it is. Let me just make sure it's yellow gold. Yes, 18 karat yellow gold. And what's really cool about this is they've paired it with this really beautiful green bezel and green dial. Gold and green look beautiful together. I think it meshes so nicely, kind of like how yellow gold and blue look really great together. I think yellow gold and green look very good together. But dang, does it remind you of Rolex. You know, the gold and the green really does that. I think that the case had a couple of modifications to it from the other Black Bays that had been released, but nothing too notable to really mention. I think this is an interesting direction for them to take, starting to use precious metals in some of their watches. Up until this point, I think we've seen, you know, the Tudor Black Bays in steel, and then you can also talk about the Pelagos in, I want to say titanium. I might be wrong there, but you haven't really seen any gold watches, and it's kind of interesting that they're bringing this into what traditionally is a sports watch design. They're going to be doing that in 18 karat yellow gold, which I think is interesting. You know, the Rolex Submariners have come in precious metals before, and maybe that this is Tudor's path that they're going to take, kind of similar to Rolex. The watch itself, 39 millimeters in diameter, yellow gold case, green dial and bezel, and has a display case back. It's got the MT5400 movement in it. If I'm honest, when you flip it over, it's kind of underwhelming to look at the movement that's beating inside of this Tudor. But again, Tudor is creating watches that are a little bit more sports oriented and not really watches that are supposed to have impeccable movement finishing for you to be able to see. The watch itself is about $17,000 US, so on the more expensive side of things, but definitely cheaper than some of the other sports watches that use precious metals for their cases. Another watch that they came out with, which I thought was really cool, is a Tudor Black Bay 58 that used silver as the case metal of choice for this watch. Again, this is a decision by Tudor to create sports watches in precious metals, and you know, it's not very common to come across watches that are in silver, and I thought this was a pretty unique decision that they made for this year for this specific watch. The watch itself, I think there's a couple of design variations on the way the case is constructed, but nothing too big to you know, change the whole design of this Tudor Black Bay 58. Same specifications, 39 millimeters in diameter. The case is made of 925 silver. Interestingly enough, this is actually an alloy a proprietary alloy from Tudor, and so you're not going to really find these very often. What I also thought was really interesting is the dial and bezel color that they decided to pair with this watch. The dial color is actually a taupe color, which I thought was interesting choice. It definitely goes with the strap that they pair it with, as well as the leather strap that you can get for this watch, and it also is something a little bit different. You know, you could totally go very simple and you know, whack on a black bezel and black dial for this watch, but taupe is a little bit more interesting, which I thought was kind of cool. The movement inside is the MT5400, similar to the 18 karat yellow gold watch that they came out with, and awesome price point for this watch, $4,300 US. Yeah, silver is a cheaper metal than 18 karat yellow gold, but a fairly good price point for quite a unique watch. It's not not a limited edition, but I like the fact that Tudor is actually playing around with their case metals quite a bit. It's going to be interesting to see if maybe they go into something a little bit more classic. I think it would be cool to see what Tudor comes out with if they decided to go like the dress watch route. I know that Tudor is known for creating sports watches, and that's kind of their bread and butter, but with them playing around with these case metals, it begs the question, you know, are they going to maybe come out with something that is a little bit more dressier, that it isn't really, you know, a steel sports watch. And then the last one I wanted to go over is a lineup of Tudor Black Bays that they came out with, and they've mixed up the sizes. They've come out with a 32mm, 36mm, and 41mm Tudor Black Bay. Each of them comes with 3 different dial colors. You can get them in black, silver, and then blue. It's cool that they've decided to extend the, obviously you have the 32, 36, and 41mm cases that they've been creating previously, but to come out with some other variations of these is pretty cool. The watch itself is a stainless steel case, or the watches are made out of stainless steel, comes on a steel bracelet, and like I said, features a different color dial variation that you can pick up. The movement inside of these is the T600 movement. This is a modification from the 2824 that they've produced, so you're not going to be getting an in-house movement with this one. The watches themselves, again, are really well priced, and I think this is a really good first step into watch collecting, and that's why I think the more variety that they have here allows for them to capture some more audiences. The 32mm case Black Bay, the Heritage Black Bay, is about $3,000 US. The 36 is about, or excuse me, the 32 is about $2,800 US. The 36 is about $29,000 US, and the 41mm is just north of $3,000 US. So fairly affordable, and it's nice to see some more variations in the colors. Not super big changes, but it allows for people who are maybe getting into watches to have a couple more choices, and perhaps they'll capture a different market segment with these watches. I hope you guys enjoyed my coverage of Tudor's releases for watches and wonders. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these watches, so be sure to leave a comment with what you think about the Tudor Chronographs and the Tudor Black Bays that they released. These are, I think, pretty big changes, and while the design changes are very subtle, I think that it can lead to some really interesting watches down the line. If you did not do it in the beginning of the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel, and if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button for us for the YouTube algorithm, so people who are interested in Tudor watches can see these videos and join the Live from the Wrist community. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.